friends. Happy Friday. We're from Wild Birds Unlimited in Joliet. My name's Ellen. And on Fridays, we go live to tell you what's new, what's happening at the store, what's happening out in nature. Well, this week we have a couple cool things going on. Tomorrow I'm presenting on all about hummingbirds at 11 o'clock here at the store. If you'd like to call the store ahead of time to save a seat for yourself, you're more than welcome to. I think we have a few seats still unclaimed, but more the merrier. So come on in if you can make it. On the next Saturday, that's June 7th, we are doing a a little workshop, and I brought my sample here to show you. We're doing create your own miniature bookcase. So this one is the sample that the leader of this craft has provided me to show me what she does. She does this at libraries and all sorts of things. Mine started falling a little bit apart just because of how I took care of it. I didn't take very good care of it at first, so I had to retape mine a little bit. But she has a lot of these intricate little detail kits, and I love these little books that she's made. They're actually made out of like a bunch of magazines, she told me. But these little books are all up in here and all up in this little neat little bookcase. Oh, my ladder fell out. So yes, you're gonna put all your pieces in, and you can glue them in place, or you can kind of keep some of them mobile so you can move it around and make them cool. But it gets better, guys, because yes, this one does have a light. So you have a couple different settings. I like to leave it on the all light. It looks so beautiful. There we go. There we go. So that's that. $15 a person. You call a store to register, put your name on a list. There will be a couple. Your $15 includes all the kit that you'll need to make this, with most of its all the intricate little knickknacks in there. There will be a few that you can purchase extra in store. So that night of. So just keep that in mind if you would like to add more to your little bookcase. But our theme is birds and nature themed, so it should be really cute, really fun. It's at 6 p.m., so it's in the evening workshop. But you just call the store and let us know that you're coming, and we'll add you to the list to come on and do the craft. So how cool is that? I'm so excited. Cannot wait. But if you'd like to see this more in person, you can come by the store and check it out in person and see it hands-on, so you can see what it's all about. So real cute thing. Love that. Also coming up, we have a bird outing for our Monday morning bird outing. We are back at Rock Run. We like to meet at the Black Road Access just down the street and around the corner from us. We meet at 9 a.m. and that's June 9th. That is the date for this next bird outing, and everyone and anyone is welcome to come and participate. We recommend dressing for the weather, whatever that may be, and to bring your own optics if you have them. If you don't have them, we likely will have a couple pairs extra to share if you don't have one. But if you're looking for a pair, we have a great selection of optics for pretty much every range and price and use, right? Like whether it's for a quick little to look in your backyard, or to do some further looking, some really bigger magnification. We have all sorts of optics here for every occasion and every style and every budget. So keep that in mind too. I do have some new feeders to show you today. It came in, I thought it was pretty cool. We were able to order a couple different colors of a feeder that we have traditionally had. We usually have them in copper, but during the holidays we were able to get them in red and green, and they just we were able to order them also in blue. So we brought in red and blue for the upcoming patriotic holidays that we're going to be coming into, and I want to share those with you right now because they are so cute. Look at them. And to make it super patriotic, I put a safflower in there to make it red, white, and blue. But what do you think? I just love these colors. This one, we also had a couple of these in when we launched Cardinal Confetti, and they are back. So we have a couple more of these, and we have that new blue color that is back. These tidy feeders for the cylinder feeders are just awesome. I love that they're so easy to operate. Putting one down just so I can show you. Right? That's as easy as it gets, guys. Super easy, but the lid will cover and keep your seed cylinder nice and dry in pretty much all weather because it really extends over the food. But then the tray is nice too, so if anything does fall down, it's gonna be kind of catched in this little tray. They do have holes on the bottom. I'm sure you can see with this lighting that I have going on here that they do have the drainage holes. So of course, if water does get on here, it's not going to pool and your cylinder isn't going to sit in water. So super awesome, brand new tidy feeders, cylinder feeders, red, white, and blue for the upcoming holidays. So that's so fun. But that's my new object for this. My new items for today is our new colored tidy cylinder feeders. But today we're talking particularly, I wanted to talk about summer foundational feeding. And I want to set the stage. Okay, so when you're watching this, as you're watching this, I want you to think of that favorite place that you like to eat, right? Maybe it's that quick bite, grab and go, or maybe it's like a special place that you like to eat for like a special meal. Maybe it's your favorite birthday spot or your anniversary place that you like to go. Whatever that place is, get that in your mind. Okay, think about that place and why you love it, right? Because you know that they will, you know, and you trust that one, that they're gonna be open when you want to go or need to go there. That they will have something that you want to eat and that you enjoy to eat. Keep those things in mind, okay? Because birds are the same way, right? They remember where reliable food is, where their favorite foods are. Okay, so that's the big topic tonight that I'm talking about, all right? So while birds may come, they may linger and hang out for a while. They're going to eat, stay a lot. You know, maybe some birds will grab and go, or sometimes they come, but they really don't eat anything at all. But what's happening, no matter which stage they're in, lingering, grab and going, or just stopping, checking it out, and leaving, no matter where they are in that stage, they are always remembering where that reliable food is. They're consistently checking where that food is located and if it is regularly full or available. That food is regularly available. Okay? There have been a lot of studies on feeding birds, right? So we know that birds benefit with consistent, dependable food source, right? And that's supplemental food sources. We know birds get majority of their food from out in nature, right? Feeders only consist of about 20% of their diet most of the time of the year. They really rely on your feeders during periods of like high need or extreme weather, right? So when we get into that winter, right, the actual food is harder to find. They're going to rely on your feeder food more so than they will other times, right? Same within the summer, okay? Summer, and right now we're hitting into nesting season, big time. Lots of energy needed, right? It's a big, challenging time of year for birds because they're busy doing lots of things, defending territory, raising babies, feeding babies. All these things take a lot of time and energy out of birds' everyday life. So when we are providing that food, supplemental food source, your feeders, birds benefit because their overall health benefits, right? They have improved overall health. You're also helping to maintain that energy through those challenging times, like nesting season, right? We're doing all of that. But you can help birds and be their favorite place to dine all summer long, but also all year long by keeping at least one foundational feeder in your yard that's always open, always has their favorite wants and needs in it. Okay? Think of this feeder, this foundational feeder, as your favorite place. Remember, we just thought about it, right? What's that favorite go-to place? Right? The reasons why you like it are the same reasons why your birds are coming back to those same feeders, okay? Let's talk real quick. What is a foundational feeder? What do they look like? What is all the know-how, okay? I'm going to tell you all of that right now, okay? So, foundational feeders. So, all of us love to feed the birds, right? We all love to do it, but there's a challenge involved, right? Because sometimes it's very difficult with our lives, whether you're working or maybe you're not working. We just are busy. We're busy humans. And it's kind of can be difficult to get out there and refill feeders every single day. So the benefit to having a foundational feeder is that it is something that, one, can hold enough food to last at least 4 days. That's number one. So it holds a decent amount of seed that's going to last several days. Number two, it's easy to clean and easy to refill. Number three, it can feed multiple birds at one time. All right. And number four, it usually should contain a high quality seed blend that's very attractive to a wide variety of bird species. Okay, so let's show you exactly what that can look like. Number one, foundational feeder could be a hopper. So this is just one hopper I grabbed here. This is a foundational feeder because, one, it holds enough seed, lots of seed capacity, to last at minimum 4 days. Sometimes the hoppers will last more than 4 days. This feeder also is easy to clean. Like I just showed you, it's super easy to fold that back over. The top plexiglass can come out. And then this tray, there you go, scrub it up dub. It's super easy to clean out, refill, super easy. So we've got 2 check marked, right? Now this feeder also has obviously a lot of room on here, these 2 sides perches, to offer multiple birds to eat at one time. Okay, foundational feeder. I'm going to talk about the last point, the 4th point, in a few minutes here, but I wanted to hit at least those 3 big things that make a foundational feeder with each of these examples. Okay, another foundational feeder could be a 2 feeder. So I grabbed this one, but it could be any one that we carry here. But I really love our quick clean bases because easy to clean, easy to fill, right? Bottom comes off on all of these, whether it's with buttons or I like to pinch them because my hands aren't big enough to grip these little buttons on the side here. With this larger feeder, I grab the bottom and just pull it out, and that's the bottom. It makes it really easy to clean. Easy to fill, right? Scoop and pour. Easy to fill and clean. But this kind of feeder, even a regular large seed tube feeder, is likely going to be a great foundational feeder because most of the time your seed tube feeders are going to last several days. Okay, if you fill it all the way up. All right. How about this one? A seed cylinder feeder can in fact be a foundational feeder because, again, multiple birds can eat off of it, right? Lots of room to perch. Some birds cling to the seed cylinders. It can, sometimes your seed cylinders can last at least 4 days, sometimes more, depending on the size, and we'll talk about that here. Foundational feeder, right? Something that's going to last a long time, easy to clean, and multiple birds can use it. My eliminator, I use my eliminator as a foundational feeder in my yard. It's one of my foundational feeders. I have a few foundational feeders, but again, it's something that always has food in it. The birds will always find something here to eat. There may be my cup feeders, and some of my tray feeders may go dry, within a day or so. My foundational feeder always has something for the birds to find. Okay, it makes my yard something that they know they can rely on, that it's worth the visit because I might probably have something in the feeder for them. All right. This feeder also is it's a little bit more complicated than some of these others to clean, but it's super easy to fill. And honestly, if you've played with enough eliminators, it's really not that difficult. You loosen the screw down here, and then most of the parts start coming, makes it easy for this middle piece to come apart, and you can clean all the way through. Super easy. I do have a video on our YouTube that shows how to disassemble and reassemble the eliminator. It really does not take long, and it is pretty easy. Once you do it once, you'll never forget how to do it, and it's super easy. Okay? Again, holds a lot of seed. Many birds can eat off of it, and it's easy to refill and clean. Okay? No screws involved, nothing that we have to take tools out and make it cumbersome. We want it easy and simple. Okay? So now we know what those foundational feeders look like. Let's talk about food to use in a foundational feeder, because it's equally as important. The food we want to put in our foundational feeders, we want it to be something packed in protein, something with fats, something very nutritious that's going to meet the needs of many birds during the season that you're feeding. So right now, nesting season. So I like to put out nesting super blend because this has everything that nesting families need, from moms that are incubating or creating eggs to babies that are out and starting to fledge. Okay, this has everything that they need to make a great start at either new bird life or creating that new bird life. Okay, everyone is satisfied. Every bird species that we get to our backyard is going to find something that they like here. Okay, but that doesn't mean that it has to be nesting super blend. Maybe it's cardinal confetti. Maybe it's no mess blend. Maybe it's any of our WBU seed blends, because you want a blend. The blends are where we get lots of ingredients. More ingredients, sunflower, safflower, mealworms, bark butter bits, peanuts, are all going to attract different species. And we know one bird species type is just not as fun as if we could get 10 or more species. Okay, so we want a blend that's going to attract more species to the feeder, because the feeders that we're using are able to hold multiple birds at one time. Okay, when it comes to seed cylinders, right, pretty much any of our blended seed blends, I grabbed a No Mess and a Cranberry Fair to kind of just show, but any of the seed blends that for cylinders that we carry are going to be a great blend, that great variety that everyone is going to enjoy. Okay, now let's say you're like me, and at some times of the year, these small cylinders are not enough to last 4 days. I'm probably maybe 3 in my yard with a small. In those times of high demand, and when you're getting many more birds to your feeders, maybe it's time to upgrade to a large. All right, here's the small No Mess. This is the large No Mess. This will last you much more longer than the small. So sometimes it's worth doing the large just simply to make it a foundational feeder that you're going to always have available so the birds never have a place that they can't find food. Right? We know it benefits them. We know it helps them. It gets them through the challenging times, the busy nesting seasons, the times where it's harder to find food. And your foundational feeder is going to be like their favorite restaurant, like your favorite restaurant. It's always open when they say that they're open. It always is going to have the food that you enjoy. Your foundational feeder is the same. It's their favorite restaurant for the birds, all right? This other feeder, I was just thinking when I was picking these items, what else could be a foundational feeder here? And I grabbed this one too because I thought this one would be a foundational feeder too. Right? So this is, there's multiple uses for this feeder. You could do peanuts out of the shell, in the shell, but I like to use our bricks. Right? So something like our seed brick like this. Right? This would go in here, right? Comes in hot or not, right? Woodpecker. And this flaming hot feast has a bit of mealworms, looks like sunflower seeds, safflower, peanuts. It has the works in it. So these blends are going to be really good blends that are going to attract a wide variety of species. And not only that, your feeder is easy to clean, right? Easy to refill. You just open the package and plop it in. Easy to clean because both these sides of these screens, they come out. The diverter comes out. Even this bottom comes out. If you remove this little, thing, this can come out. Super easy to clean, right? That's a foundational feeder. Something that's going to last several days, can feed multiple birds, and can hold multiple birds can feed off of it, right? So just like this one, two-sided, two perch sides to feed off of. So those birds have multiple birds can feed at one time. All right, that's a foundational feeder. All right. Let's talk about placement. Where are you going to place your foundational feeder? Because I know there's choices. Sometimes we have a beautiful feeder set up that, that you can put it on, and that's great. If you can have a feeder set up, an area in your yard that you know you're going to dedicate to bird feeding, that's wonderful. But the two most important things to think about whenever you're placing a feeder, but in particular when we're placing foundational feeders, is we want it somewhere that it's easy to access, because eventually we're going to have to refill it. So we want it to be somewhere that we don't have to get a ladder out to climb up and get it, or to get it down to clean. We want it to be easy to, maybe you just set it on that pull system hook, not zip tied to a tree, right? Because then you have to get something out, cut the zip tie, and then re-zip. None of that. Something easy, somewhere easily accessible. But equally, and almost most importantly, wherever you place this feeder, you want it somewhere where you can easily watch it and enjoy it. Because we're feeding these birds not only to benefit the birds, but we want it because it's fun to watch. We want to see all the action. When the baby cardinals come to the feeder, or when the orioles bring their young to the feeder, we want to see all that action, right? Well, we can't do it if it's hiding behind the tree or it's on the side of the house where the garage is, right? We want to be able to see it clearly and easily, somewhere where we're going to enjoy it, okay? Now, the question I often get when we're talking about foundational feeders is, well, maybe I don't have a foundational feeder, but I have a tray feeder or something. Well, if it goes empty, are the birds going to come back? Yes, the birds will come back. Okay, if the feeder goes empty for a couple days, even a while, like maybe you're out of town for a week or 2 weeks or 3 or even longer, yes, birds will come back. But it could take a while. Even if you've been feeding regularly in the past and all of a sudden you go on vacation for a couple weeks, the bird activity may slow if all the feeders go empty. Okay, but the birds will come back. But keeping that foundational feeder going and always having something full ensures that your yard is worth of that visit. Okay, remember I talked about in the beginning, because my birds know that I at least have one, probably two feeders that are always have food at it. They know that it's worth coming to my yard to check it out before they go anywhere else. All right, this is a way that you can have an advantage over your neighbors who feed, and sometimes you guys are stealing each other's birds back and forth from each other. If you keep a foundational feeder, you are one step ahead of the neighbor that you're trying to beat out. Okay? Think about this. Dependable feeders means more visits, more bird species coming to visit, and more joy, more birds to enjoy, not just in summer, but all year. Right? So birds don't take a summer break. I know school's coming out for many of the kids, but birds don't have that break. In fact, many of them just migrated all the way up here to do a really hard, intensive task of nesting. So we are really the source for them. We are helping provide that nutrition that they need during this season. Okay, and you guys, all of us that put out a foundational feeder, we can literally make our yards our birds' favorite restaurant. And who doesn't want that, right? I know, it's crazy. Well, guys, if you have any questions on our foundational feeding stuff, let me know here. We're pretty much, I'm making it short and sweet tonight, but that's pretty much it. The idea is that you are putting out a feeder that's always going to be reliable, that's something super consistent. And I think it's pretty reasonable to say if we were choosing one feeder that's always going to remain full, that's easy. It gets hard when we start having all the fun little extra feeders, right? The little trays, the little cup feeders, the things like that, that sometimes we have to go out every day to refill. That's where it can get a little challenging, especially if you have a big schedule, a busy schedule with many activities or many things going on in your life. It can be challenging. But bird feeding shouldn't be challenging. It should be fun and it should be easy. And the simple way to do this is by using a foundational feeder. Also, things to think about. If you are on a budget or are struggling in this season or economy that we're in, a foundational feeder is a great way to limit how much food you're providing in a certain amount of time. Okay? Put out only what you can put out in a time that you're going to watch it and be able to watch it, and the birds will keep coming back. Okay? You don't have to maintain multiple feeders, especially if it's difficult. It's better to maintain one consistently than it is to maintain many small feeders that go empty consistently. Okay, the birds will do better and you will see more and more bird species if you can maintain at least that one feeder. All right, I like to use, because right now, I don't know about you, but the starling babies are out in droves. In fact, here at the store, you can see some nice examples of the starling babies and their loudness and all that behavior. Now, we did cage a couple of extra feeders outside here, so you can see that in action and how that really works. But because starling babies and house sparrow babies are soon going to be coming out too, it can be challenging to feed everyone something, a blend that everyone likes. So majority of my yard, including my seed cylinder feeder, has safflower on it, okay? The feeders that have access, that where pretty much anyone has access to, has safflower. My tray feeder has safflower in it. My cylinder has safflower in it. My hopper has safflower in it. Okay? What doesn't have safflower? My eliminator. My eliminator has well, right now I'm using a lot of nesting blend, super blend. That's this stuff right here. the best for the birds this time of year. But I've set my eliminator to only allow one starling. So the whole flock can't eat, and the babies are going to have to severely wait their turn. And it definitely slows them down, and they eventually leave because it's not worth it. They have so many mouths to feed. They are getting demanded left and right and pulled back and forth from their kids. They need to find food that they can give to the babies and make them be quiet. So this is allowing me, my foundational feeder, my eliminator, is allowing me to still offer the seasonally high protein, high fat, high nutrition blend without having the starlings and all the blackbirds just eat it out all in one day. Okay, so my eliminator is still lasting at minimum 4 days strong, if not more. Yep, see, exactly. Safflower is definitely the way to go for problems, but everyone else likes it too, so it's very appealing. And in fact, if you're struggling with sparrows, safflower, especially in that compressed seed cylinder form, right? I have one right here. Safflower, right? Safflower with this small little white seed. It's very hard. It's bitter. And some birds, like blackbirds, really tend to not like it. It's a very bitter seed. Some of them can't even open it because their bills aren't designed to shuck little hard shells. But when the sparrows, and they have all their babies out, yes, sometimes they'll go for this, but many times it's just too difficult, too hard of a shell. And in this compressed seed cylinder form, it is almost a worst nightmare for them. Okay, they are looking for the easy pickings, something that they can grab and go, put in their baby's mouth and move on. They have all these mouths to feed. So safflower is a great way to slow the unwanted problem birds down, but still attract all the birds that you still want to enjoy. Like your cardinals, your house finches, your woodpeckers. Everyone will be down for this, okay? Yep, eggs, absolutely. Absolutely. And keep your eye out for babies too, because their babies should be out and about too soon, if not already. And to keep an eye on those babies, what the babies look like, if you go to our website, there is a chart that kind of shows many of the most common fledgling babies that might be seen in your yard. There's a chart. It's under, I think, on the side panel, probably under what if I found a baby in my yard, something like that, a baby bird. It's in that title, okay? But the idea, what you're looking for, is many of these fledglings, these baby birds that are visiting our feeders, look almost identical to the mom and dad, the adults. Sometimes they are a little bit different in color, like our starlings. The starling babies are a little bit more gray, whereas our adults, the mature adults, are black, almost iridescent purpley green, with the yellow bills. The babies don't look like that. They're a little bit different looking. But some babies look just like their parents. Cardinal babies, for example, look almost identical to mom, whether they're male or female, until the male starts molting. The real big difference is their bill. The babies, the juveniles, they actually have a black or dark looking bill, whereas the mature adults, male and female, have that orange, that bright colored orange bill. So it's a little bit different. Babies usually have shorter tail feathers and shorter wing feathers. They can sometimes look a little rough, meaning like sometimes they have some patches that don't look quite right. Sometimes they have fluff still on them that is trying to molt out into their more adult feathers. So many of those birds look similar, but if you keep your eye on them and watch their behavior, because yes, their behavior is a big indicator as to what they are. Babies at this time of year are still begging parents. Yes, they left the nest, and yes, they're learning how to be an adult, but let's face it, they're toddlers with an attitude. And they're begging mom or dad at the feeders to put food back in their mouths. So sometimes you'll get to witness this cool behavior, like we saw with a kissing cardinal, where the male will feed the female in the beginning of nesting season, when they're trying to pair up and mate. Babies do that constantly. They follow the parents around and just with open mouths, feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me. So if you hear a lot of noise at your feeder soon, maybe it's worth the while to kind of take a second look at that feeder and see what's going on, because you might be finding that you actually have a lot of babies that the parents have brought to your feeders to enjoy the restaurant that you have provided for them. So keep your eyes on that behavior. I always think of this one video. So I think it came out last year, maybe 2 years by now. But it's a video of a little bird, and it's following this worm on the ground, and it's just has its mouth open wide, and it just wants it to jump in there. Like, he's not quite getting it yet that he has to actually pick it up and eat it, but he just has his mouth open and the worm's inching along. Like, come on, just jump in. This is how you do it, right? Absolutely. So keep your eye on these cool behaviors, because it's this one season that we get to enjoy them. And if you're not paying close enough attention, we might miss it. So enjoy it while it's here. Why do you have so many safflower? So I have so much safflower in my feeders because I have a lot of blackbirds. And in particular, I have a lot of starlings in my yard. So because so many starlings are in my area, I'm using a lot of safflower. Now, I have been known, and I know I've told some of you this, that if I have a tasty no mess cylinder out there or hot cranberry, I use a lot of hot cranberry in my yard. If the starlings come and I see that they've demolished half of a cylinder in 2 hours, I pull that half-eaten no mess cylinder and I put my safflower out there. And I leave it out there until the starlings are gone. Like, it may take a couple days. It may take a week. At this point, with babies out, it may take, some time, because they're looking for whoever has food out that's available to them. But I use a lot of safflower, and right now that's really helpful to combat the starlings, because the starlings, it's not so much that they don't like the seed, because they may like it, they may not, but their bill is not designed to open hard little safflower seeds. Now, your grackles and your red-winged blackbirds are a little bit different. They tend to stay away from safflower just because it's a bitter seed. They would much rather have peanuts, sunflower chips, sunflower seeds, almost anything else that you put out there than safflower. So sometimes you pick out a couple of the safflower, they will pick some safflower, but they end up moving on because it's just not something, that they like, versus some of the other ingredients that you could put out instead, or some people put out, right? Yes, I know. Doves are tricky. Doves and the sparrows are tricky. I am working to revamp our website with sparrow solutions. And maybe next week we'll talk about some sparrow solutions and go over that a little bit. For your mourning doves, for the doves, I can suggest this, okay, is that they like seed, but they really like the sparrow. They like millet seeds. I want to say there was something I read one time, and it was like that doves can eat something like 3,000 millet seeds a day. So millet, that little white seed, it is in our regular no mess blend. It's that little round yellow seed that you see in here. That is white millet. That is not a filler. That is actually a seed that many of our ground feeding birds, like our doves, our sparrows, our towhees, they love. Okay? Yep, sparrows love the millet. Okay? Now the doves equally like millet too. Okay? They're a ground feeding bird. They will happily eat the millet off the ground. So eliminating millet from any of the seed blends that you're using can greatly reduce the amount of doves that hang out there. The other thing I would suggest is if your seed tube feeders, like this one, right? If you use a tray for it, I would recommend removing the tray. All right, I know it can get a little bit messy under the feeder, but maybe it's time to move to a no mess blend, okay? Because that tray makes a great spot for doves to take a nap after they eat. I always say that they have like a food coma. They eat so much seed and then they're taking a nap right in the tray, right on the feeder. It's like, come on, guys, move out of the way. People are trying to eat. Nope, he's taking a nap. Um, so if you eliminate that tray, they won't be able to hang out as much. And if you don't have such wide perches and instead use the stick perches, their their chunky booties won't be able to fit on there as easy. So just by doing that, that's going to limit how many can eat off the feeder. Now we could do a tray feeder. We can do ground feeding. An elevated ground feeder works great, keeps it sanitary for the birds and all that. But there are ways that we can still provide for the ones that we don't love as much, but still make room for the others. Does that make sense? Doves will also eat safflower, absolutely. Absolutely. They are big seed eaters, so any seed that you put out there, but they do love millet. So that's why if you see on our like deluxe blend is has mostly safflower, sunflower, some striped sunflower seeds, but it has millet in there. We add millet to seed blends to attract those ground feeding birds because typically millet does get kicked to the ground. It is designed to be on the ground for those ground feeding birds. So that's why most of our blends, a lot of our blends do either have it or they don't have it. Because sometimes we're trying to eliminate ground feeding. So depending on what you are trying to achieve, we can suggest the best blend for that scenario. What you want to offer and the type of birds that you're trying to attract and the scenario that you're having in your yard. Maybe you don't want things on the ground. Maybe you have dogs or other kids that can get into things. We get that. There is a seed blend for every scenario out there. There is a thing that we can do and put it in there to attract the most variety without feeding the ones that we don't want or not feeding the way that we don't want to feed. Okay, there are options out there. Great questions tonight, guys. Anything else? Any other questions? Good to see you guys. Hope you had a great weekend last weekend. Memorial Day weekend. You had a lot of fun. And thanks to everyone that came out for our plant sale. It was a really huge success. We're looking forward to have it every year, a big plant sale like that with Possibility Place Nursery. So thanks for coming and making that a thing. We'll try to continue doing that in the future. So that's exciting. All right, friends, you guys have a great evening. Again, if you have any questions, don't feel free to put them in the comments. I'll promise I'll respond back to them tonight when I get back home. We also I'm working really diligently to upload all of our past Friday Lives on our YouTube channel. So if you scroll up the comments, I believe it was actually in the main post blurb for this live, but it has the link to our YouTube. And if you want to check out other past lives that we have, or you missed something last year, or you just want to peruse the library, right, and see what topics that we've talked about, you are more than welcome to go on that page. We have a special playlist with all the Friday Lives from the past. I'm about halfway through last year, so I'm working really hard to try to download them from Facebook and upload them back onto YouTube, so that you guys have access to that whenever you want. Facebook has a new thing going on here where the live videos, all of the videos that we post on here are only going to be available for 30 days because there's not enough storage, right? So my way of keeping all these videos for you guys to see later or go back to and utilize are to put them on from Facebook to YouTube. So they will live on here until Facebook deletes them after the 30 days. But they will all hopefully be back on YouTube so that we can look back on them and utilize them whenever you guys want, okay? All right, everyone, you have a fantastic weekend. We hope to see you tomorrow. Don't forget, All about hummingbird presentation tomorrow here at the store. Yeah. Well, it's apparently it's most of the ones, Donna. That's most of the ones that they're talking about are the newer ones. My old ones, they're not like. I think they're giving me a little bit more time. I had like 6 months. I'm at the 3 month mark with those ones. But these new ones that I've been creating, I only have 30 days for them to last on here. So I'll have time. We'll get them all done. We'll get them all on here. But it's just one of those things I want to keep in mind and let you know if you start seeing them disappear, why that's happening, and where you can find them if you want to access them later. All right? All right, guys, you have a fantastic weekend. Hope to see you tomorrow. Hope that you're enjoying all your birds and that you have greater tools in your pockets to attract more varieties and enjoy more birds, not this just this summer, but the entire year. All right, we'll see you next Friday. Until then, see you soon.